Welcome to our channel. Today, we're uncovering a story that's been hiding in plain sight. While the world watches the US national debt climb higher and higher, another economic giant is rapidly catching up. Yes, we're talking about China. Everyone talks about America's debt problem, but did you know that China is on track to overtake the US when it comes to debt relative to GDP? In this video, we'll dive deep into the numbers, compare the debt levels of these two superpowers, and explore what this means for the global economy. Stay tuned, because you won't want to miss this eye-opening analysis. First, let's understand what we mean by total debt. This includes government debt, money borrowed by the central and local governments; corporate debt, borrowing by businesses and corporations; household debt, loans taken by individuals, like mortgages, student loans, and credit card debt. By considering all these components, we get a complete picture of a country's financial obligations. As of 2023, the United States has a total debt of approximately $68 trillion, which is about 300% of its gross domestic product, or GDP. Federal government debt, over $31 trillion, exceeding 125% of GDP. State and local government debt, around $3 trillion. Corporate debt, approximately $14 trillion, about 60% of GDP. Household debt, around $20 trillion, roughly 75% of GDP. The US has long been scrutinized for its growing debt, sparking debates on government spending and fiscal policies. Now let's turn our attention to China. China's total debt stands at approximately $51 trillion, which is about 335% of its GDP. Here's the breakdown. Central and local government debt, estimated at $14 trillion, around 90% of GDP. Corporate debt, about $27 trillion, exceeding 160% of GDP. Household debt, around $10 trillion, approximately 62% of GDP. What's striking is how rapidly China's debt has grown. In 2008, China's total debt was about 140% of GDP. By 2023, it has more than doubled. One major difference between the US and China is transparency. In China, a significant portion of debt is hidden through off-balance sheet entities like local government financing vehicles, or LGFVs. These entities borrow money for local projects, but aren't fully accounted for in official statistics. Estimates suggest that LGFVs have accumulated over $8 trillion in debt. Add in the shadow banking sector, and China's actual debt could be much higher than reported. China's corporate debt is among the highest in the world, at over 160% of GDP. State-owned enterprises, or SOEs, make up a large portion of this debt. Many of these companies are less efficient and carry higher debt loads than private firms. The real estate sector is particularly alarming. Companies like Evergrande have accumulated massive debts, leading to defaults that shook global markets in recent years. Chinese households are known for their high savings rates, over 30% of their disposable income. However, household debt has been rising sharply. In 2008, household debt was just 18% of GDP. By 2023, it's climbed to 62% of GDP. Most of this debt is in mortgages due to skyrocketing property prices. So, despite high savings, Chinese households are increasingly leveraged, much like their American counterparts. Now, let's compare the debt to GDP ratios of both countries. United States, total debt is about 300% of GDP. China, total debt is about 335% of GDP. China has surpassed the US in terms of debt relative to the size of its economy. This is a significant development that hasn't received enough global attention. Moreover, considering potential hidden debts, China's actual debt to GDP ratio could be even higher. In conclusion, while the US national debt often dominates headlines, China's rapidly growing debt deserves equal attention, or perhaps even more. China's debt to GDP ratio has surpassed that of the United States. With hidden debts and less transparency, the risks may be greater than many realize. It's time for policymakers, investors, and the global community to pay closer attention to China's debt situation. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into global economic issues.